Almost every first-time homebuyer I work with in Alabama says the same thing after they closed. I wish I would have started this sooner. And not because they rushed, not because prices exploded, but because they realized how much stress they carried just from not understanding how the process actually works. They thought buying their first home meant perfect credit. They thought they needed 20% down. They thought one wrong move could mess this completely up. And none of that is true. So in this video, I'm walking you through the step-by-step process of buying your first home in Alabama, exactly how it works in 2026, using real examples from buyers I've helped, the mistakes I see first-time home buyers make all the time, and what actually matters versus all the noise online. So if buying a home feels overwhelming, intimidating, or confusing, this video is going to bring clarity before you even make a move. And if we haven't met yet, I'm Zach, and I help first-time home buyers all across the Birmingham area and surrounding markets navigate this process every single week. So one of my most recent clients found me from videos just like this one, and all they did was book a free strategy call. So if you're starting the home buying process or you just want advice, reach out at the number below or click the link in the description to get started. So let's dive into the exact steps you should take to buy a house in Alabama this year. Step 1, are you actually ready? Here's the truth nobody likes to hear. Being ready to buy a home has way less to do with perfection and way more to do with stability. I've worked with buyers who make great money, but they're not ready at all. And I've worked with buyers who thought they weren't ready, but absolutely were. What lenders and sellers really care about is consistent income, a reasonable debt load, a credit profile that's trending the right direction, not perfection. I had a buyer tell me once, Zach, I'm waiting until everything is perfect. 6 months later, rent went up, rates changed, and they were kicking themselves because the math was actually better earlier. Another buyer assumed that buying meant doubling their monthly payment. And when we ran the numbers, it was only a few $100s more than rent. So step 1 isn't committing to buy, it's getting clarity. And if you're tired of living with someone else or paying those insane rent prices, it may be the perfect time to get started. Postponing what you know is the next step for you will only end up frustrating you or stop you from getting to where you want to be. In 2026 especially, waiting for the stars to align perfectly usually costs more than starting the conversation early. I mean, one of my clients found me off of YouTube last year and we started this exact conversation. He learned exactly what he needed to buy in 2026 and we just put his offer in and it got accepted. These steps actually work. Step number 2, talk to a lender first. This part matters more than most people realize. Before showings, before offers, before falling in love with a house you might not even want after you see the numbers, you need to talk with a lender. And no, this doesn't mean you're committing to anything. There's a big difference between getting pre-qualified and being fully approved. I mean, I've had first-time home buyers lose out because their finances weren't in order, even though the offer price was the same as another offer that came in. On the flip side, I've had buyers win homes because their financing looked clean, solid, and predictable. The common myth here is talking to a lender hurts your credit. One short inquiry isn't what hurts people. Uncertainty hurts people. And it's good to know what your realistic budget is before you fall in love with a house you will never be able to afford. In 2026, most lenders are walking buyers through the full picture early on. Payment, cash to close, assistant options, and that gives you leverage later on. I worked with some of the best lenders in the business, and a lot of them are like me. They'll educate you, provide options, and give you the best next steps to achieve your goal. Step number 3, down payment and assistance programs. Let's clear this up right now. You don't need 20% down to buy your first home in Alabama. First-time homebuyers don't use anywhere close to that. What trips people up is confusing down payment, closing costs, total cash needed. I mean, I had a buyer who thought they needed over $40,000 to buy. Once we broke it down properly, it was far less than that. Look, I had a client last year that only had to bring a few dollars to close in, and this could be you too. Alabama has multiple grant programs and options for first-time homebuyers, and if you don't start the process early, you may miss out on some of these amazing opportunities. Let's clear some things up. There's multiple assistance programs for first-time homebuyers. And no, they're not only for people with extremely low income. Here's the reality. Assistance programs come with trade-offs. Sometimes it's a higher rate, sometimes it's restrictions, sometimes it limits flexibility when negotiating. That doesn't mean they're bad. It just means you need to understand the full picture before choosing one, and your lender will be able to walk you through every single scenario. Step number 4, choosing the right area. This is where first-time homebuyers get emotional, and look, I get it. You want the house to look good, you want it to feel right. But the smartest buyers think about commute patterns, comfortable monthly payments, resale potential, not just aesthetics. I've seen buyers stretch to their absolute max for a house that felt exciting. And I've seen other buyers buy smart, build equity, and upgrade later. Here's the truth, your first home doesn't have to be your forever home. It's my job to be realistic and upfront with my clients, and sometimes that means telling them the truth about what their budget can actually afford. But the silver lining in all of it is, if you buy smart and go into the process with an open mind, your next home or even the home after that will slowly but surely start to be what you envisioned. And the whole time you're building equity and you're growing your wealth. I mean, I've had the pleasure of helping some of my first-time home buyers find their next home. They either kept the first one as a rental or traded up, getting exactly what they wanted. Because the reality is, with marriages, kids, and changing careers, sometimes the easiest thing to do is to find a home that fits all your needs, versus trying to make a square peg fit into a round hole. So in 2026, most buyers are treating their first home as a stepping stone, not a finish line. That mindset alone reduces stress dramatically. Next up is step number 5, making an offer that wins. Here's another misconception. The highest offer always wins. That's not true, and especially not right now. Terms matter, timing matters, and certainty matters. I mean, I've helped buyers win homes that they weren't even the highest offer because their offer was cleaner and easier for the seller to trust. Also, don't underestimate the value of relationships either. In my time in the business, I've worked with other top agents in the city, and here's the one thing that I've learned that helps my clients the most: reputation. You want an agent that's gonna put your needs first and also remove their ego from the transaction. I mean, let's be real, we've all met realtors who make it about themselves, and this is not the experience that my clients have. So the important thing to remember is, who you hire to represent you matters, and it needs to be someone you trust. So here's some other notable items that you want to consider when writing a winning offer. You've got earnest money amount, different contingencies on the offer, and also your timeline. All of that plays a role in whether your offer is accepted or not. And in 2026, sellers are paying closer attention to how likely your deal is to close, not just the numbers on the contract price. The key thing is to lean on your realtor for the exact strategy to win the offer and be able to weigh out your other options as well. Next up, step number 6, inspections and your emotions. This is where first-time homebuyers spiral. Every house has issues, even new construction. Every inspection report looks scary, and none of that means the house is bad. I've had buyers call me convinced that the deal was dead, and after walking through the report calmly, everything was manageable. I mean, I walk my clients through step by step so they know exactly what they're signing off on. And if there's something in the report that needs attention, we make sure to get that addressed. We have multiple resources to get you a second or third opinion before you move forward. And one of the most important things to me is that you feel safe in your new home. And the biggest complaint I hear from buyers who used other agents, they rushed as part of the process. The buyers are saying things like, they don't listen to us, or now we have to fix all this stuff ourselves. And these types of experiences are what we avoid when people decide to work with us. So with that said, inspections aren't pass or fail, they're for information. The key is knowing what's normal, what's negotiable, and what's a real red flag. Most of the time, it's not nearly as dramatic as it feels in the moment. Last up, step number 7, appraisal, final numbers, and closing. Once inspections are done, buyers usually relax. Until appraisal. And here's the thing, appraisals cause anxiety because buyers don't control them. Sometimes they come in right on target, and sometimes they don't. The biggest thing is, when it comes to appraisals, is having your agent pull the most recent comparable homes and compare that with the seller's price. Not every agent does this, so it's important that you partner with the right one. And the biggest difference in 2026 when it comes to appraisals is preparation. Strong offers, realistic pricing, and good guidance reduce a lot of surprises later on. And last but not least is closing day, which despite all the buildup is usually anticlimactic in the best way. You sign, you get the keys, and it finally feels real. So what's the difference in 2026? Here's what first-time homebuyers need to understand right now. Interest rate strategy matters more than obsessing over the rate. Seller concessions are more common again, and this will help you keep more of your money for other things. Also, new construction incentives look great, but make sure you read the fine print. And finally, flexibility wins the deal. The buyers who succeed aren't trying to outsmart the market, they're learning to move within it. So if there's one thing I want you to take away from this video is, you don't need to know everything at the start, but you do need to know the right people guiding you. So if you're thinking about buying your first house in Alabama, whether that's this year or next, reach out early. My number's on the screen below, or you can click the link in the description to set up a free strategy call like other people do. Look, the goal isn't pressure, it's preparation, and the smoother the process is, the better the outcome usually is. As always, subscribe below so you don't miss out on any other videos like this, and hit that like button if you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.